Welcome to Between the Lines. It's Thursday night. We're up to April 4th, and this is the 98th show of the program. We've been 98 weeks. We spent Pellissippi State. I graduated in '73. Roan State was in business. Wasn't playing much basketball, a little bit.
Right.
I went to Middle Tennessee State to play, and obviously we went to 4-year school. But there was some good community college or junior college in those days competition, and we had some great teams. Walter State had a good team. Few teams like that did. So there's always been a lot of two-year presence in the state in athletics, mostly private in those days, but it's gotten bigger and better. And even though Roan State's in Harriman and they've had a competition, Pellissippi State's really an extension of Knoxville, which should prove good or prove well, whatever. Yeah. But I think that this is the first time that Pellissippi State has embraced sports. They basically were a great school and a community college, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of that, but they'll have some sports coming up this fall. They're recruiting. Got an athletic director. It's kind of the Beatles song. We don't, we have a car. We have a driver, but we don't have a car. So, it was funny. But anyway, we've got to got to talk a little bit about all of the different things with Brock that Pellissippi. First, let me thank IB3 Global Solutions. Got my new hoodie on today for them. 46 degrees today. I'm wearing sweatshirts for that, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah.
But you're an athlete. You took this job. You've worked in the university system. You graduated from Maryville High School. What year did you graduate from Maryville?
2006.
It's like I was 100 by then. I mean, that's you graduated there? I had a friend go there, but he graduated in '01. His dad was a judge here. Chris Layton played football at Maryville College.
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was good line offensive tackle. I've known a few players. The Goldmeyer kid went up there. I'm trying to think of who else played up at Maryville. There was a lot of players at Maryville, came out of Oak Ridge and did different things. But let's talk about, that's college, not high school. But Coach Quarles, he's still coaching?
He is. I believe Coach Quarles is now coaching tight ends. I believe at Austin P, if I'm not mistaken.
So he's rolling around. What happened when he left Maryville? He went to
Furman. Yeah. So he was at Furman for a bit. I believe he started there as a tight ends coach and then worked into. He became a coordinator. Okay. Yeah, and was an offensive coordinator there for a long time. I know that
head coach left, fired, whatever, and then he went with. They roll everybody out, right?
He, if I remember correctly, he actually took from Clay's staff. He went to, it was Clay Helton, if I remember correctly, at Furman. I'd have to double check. I might be completely wrong about that, but he went from there, and then he went up to he went to ETSU, and so he's the head coach at ETSU.
My son's looking at going there as a student. I'm going to go up there in a couple of weeks and see. He's a senior. He's looking around. My sister's a major, I don't know, player, board of governors, whatever. She's at Austin P. Right. So we have a lot of friends that have gone to Austin P, but she likes it. But a 4-hour drive is a lot different than a 2-hour drive.
Massive difference.
Yeah. I mean,
big difference. We see that right now in recruiting.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. But you got, even though I wouldn't call East Tennessee a basketball haven, but I would say you've got a lot of players in Knoxville. Hey, you're 2 miles from Knoxville Catholic. I mean, they got some athletes. I mean,
we did our first kind of open tryout, for basketball. We wanted to give current students a chance to kind of engage with us. Earlier this week, it was Tuesday night. We had 60 kids out there.
That's fantastic.
I mean, and it was, that was mostly local talent. Now, we had guys, after we listed this, we had guys from Chattanooga, we had guys from Nashville.
This was boys basketball.
Yeah, boys basketball. Coach Darian Jones, and it was fun. I'm really looking forward to the energy on campus.
What's the Philly story about the guy that Wahlberg played? The guy Invincible.
Yeah.
Yeah, he walked on and he made the Philadelphia Eagles. What a good story. So you might catch a kid or two, can do stuff. Especially if you find a couple tall ones that can be substitutes. That always helps.
Yeah, that's kind of where your eyes get drawn. I was out there and I was
find some athletes. But you get a 6'10" kid who just wants to play, you say, we'll figure it out. We'll practice some or something. Yeah, that's good. What sports are you going to have?
So, this upcoming fall, so really we started with men's and women's soccer, volleyball, cross country and half marathon, both men's and women's, and men's golf. We started all that in fall of 23.
Really?
And so we started all those sports pretty early on to kind of start rolling into it. Now, the ones we're adding now, everybody in the NJCAA / Region 7. So Region 7 is all the schools across Tennessee. We refer to those as the Big Four.
Name those four.
So those Big Four is going to be men's and women's basketball, baseball, and softball. Those sports are the ones that you have common opponents across the entire state. So
How many two-year school opponents can you play in Tennessee?
So there are 11 total of us schools. We made the 11th. So in a lot of instances, I will tell you, I've been in a lot of meetings currently about scheduling.
Okay.
And so things were much easier to schedule apparently when there's only 10, and then we kind of stepped in and made 11. So, it kind of breaks down that you've got 6 of us junior colleges in the East and 5 in the West.
Okay.
So-
Let me think back to all the schools. When I played basketball middle on the freshman team, we played a lot of junior college games before the varsity games, and there was a lot of good schools. Motlow State was there.
Yep.
And
Still
Gallatin had a school up to it. Well, that's volunteer.
It's volunteer state now. Yeah, Vol State.
Because in my senior year, we were ranked in the top 5. But Gallatin won the state championship, and then it was all Chattanooga for a decade. But anyway, that's good. So girls soccer's big. Oak Ridge has a great team. Catholic has a good team. Bearden has good teams.
Yeah.
You got some recruits there.
Yeah, and especially with like men's soccer, we kind of fit. There was a hole there. Your option for men's soccer, of course, the University of Tennessee doesn't play soccer. There's a large number of Division IIs and NAIAs and et cetera. And it can be financially challenging for some athletes to go to those schools. Because as at that level, they're not offering full rides. I mean, I lived that life as an NAIA football player myself, and I was on a football scholarship, but it didn't cover everything.
That was the old Maryville thing. If you were good and you wanted to go to Maryville College, you still had to come up with $5,000 to $7,000. In those days, the total was 20 or 25, so you were still footing 25% of the bill or more.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where we fit in. Is we still want to give those kids options and the choice after developing for 2 years. Do you want to go play at Maryville College? Carson Newman, if they have the talent too. I mean, that's the big thing with specifically Carson Newman and Tusculum, LMU. Those are all really good, really competitive programs. So you have to be a pretty good athlete. We've got a couple athletes right now who are garnering interest and getting some offers from those, and it's an exciting time.
So but you don't have you offer nothing after the second year.
No, so we are still a 2
Okay.
year. So, from an academic standpoint, what we are trying to do is, we've got what I would call really 2 kind of career paths programs for these students to follow. Okay, we do what are called 2-year career programs. So those are designed for you to
Get a job after you
do
get out.
your coursework and to get out. Our most popular programs there are like the RN program for nursing, welding, water quality, some of our engineering
physics
programs.
stuff,
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
2 years, get out, get into the workforce. We got some business management type stuff.
Yeah.
The other half of that, and probably the biggest half, and 99%, this is what our student athletes are doing. They're doing transfer programs. They're really
Sure.
trying to develop academically.
Like Rome State has a major
Yes.
program with Tennessee Tech for teachers and different things.
Yes.
And yours would be, do you have a university you're hooked up with?
Tennessee. So it's
Let's go Vols!
It's the road to Rocky Top.
The road to Rocky
is
Top.
what the program's called. Yeah. So it's
Well,
pretty
let me
interesting.
tell you something. My confession here, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'm a Tennessee season ticket holder, and I love them both. But Notre Dame, the portal's the best thing ever happened to Notre Dame because you can't get in. You see the same thing in high academic schools where you can, but you can't. You got to be able to succeed when
Right.
you get there.
Right.
Now we're in the portal. You go a year to Mississippi State and you prove to be a great kid. Now you got a chance to go to Notre Dame or some other school like that, Stanford or something like that you did Vanderbilt you didn't have before. So you're right. That makes a big
Right.
difference if you can get these kids up to a level they can transfer.
Yeah, and that's really what we're trying to do. And I mean, for me as an athletic director, I mean, my success will be determined. Obviously, we want to be successful in the field. I mean,
Let me ask a
I'm
question before we go on.
competitive. Yeah.
How many students at Pellissippi State?
Oh gosh, we're at
3,000?
9,000. Yeah.
Wow.
We are the largest community college in the state of Tennessee.
There you go. Number one already.
Yeah. It's about time we had the sports to match it. So
No housing.
ticket. No housing, but that's every community college in the state of Tennessee. And
Is there a
For the-
restriction on housing?
I don't think it's necessarily a restriction. I just know it's not something that the TBR has decided to adopt or add, and they're not going to.
But if somebody donates you, if Randy Boyd or somebody comes in and says, here, you can have this apartment building, and I'm not picking a random, saying anybody, and there's 32 apartments in it, you can put your athletes in there. Are you allowed to do that?
No. There is some pretty strict guidelines surrounding housing, and we can never act as what they call brokers. So when I work with student athletes, like we've got some international student athletes that are on the men's soccer team. We've got students who
They kind of need housing.
Yeah,
They can't commute.
When they came in, we gave them a list. I operate a list of local housing, and it's just a living document that we can give them and say, here are local places. We don't try and organize rates. We don't negotiate anything. We let the teammates kind of homogeneously meet and talk and say, hey, I'm looking for a roommate. I'm looking for a roommate, and they get linked up.
I have friends looking for housing right now that are just coming to work for my company, another company. Housing's not cheap. I mean, you can't get a 2-bedroom apartment under $1,500.
It's a struggle. I mean, it is we going back to basketball. I'm talking with Darian this morning. We're talking about apartments, and he's from Alcoa, and Blount County guy, and we're talking about
Stay at
apartments in
Darren's
Knoxville.
house. I got that figured out.
Knoxville is it's expensive.
Oh, Oak Ridge is worse, yeah.
So, especially like the apartments that butt up to campus. I mean,
those are high end.
Those are very expensive. I mean, very, very expensive.
So are you allowed? How do you legally, within the rules, get these kids some money for housing?
So as a Division I program,
Yes.
we give athletic scholarships.
That's a junior college Division I, not
junior,
like you think.
Junior college. I'm not going down
not
the road
Auburn,
to play
Alabama.
UT.
Yes, right, exactly.
So we are a Division I NJCAA program that does say that portions of your athletic scholarship can be applied towards housing. So, now obviously we're limited too. So,
but we think back, and I say, son, you can go to Austin P. You can go to UT. You can go to. Nobody can get into UT anymore with all the applicants, but you can go over here, you can go over there. Let's go see Tech. All these places accepted you, and
Right.
you're on a wait list. UT, you got all this stuff going, or you can stay home and go to college for free. So we perceive Rome State and Pellissippi State as being free, but it's technically not all free.
No, and so for some of our in-state students, for students who are going to be utilizing Tennessee Promise, which is the program we're kind of talking about right now, for them, their athletic scholarship is paying for books, whatever they have left that Tennessee Promise didn't cover, and for them, it is free. There are some exceptions in there. There are certain programs that have large fees associated with them, material fees. Welding and our culinary program kind of come to mind.
But
when
books,
it comes to,
you do get an allowance for books, don't you, on that stuff?
yeah.
So technically, it's almost free.
Yeah.
If I'm commuting from Oak Ridge and going to Pellissippi State every day and taking 15 hours, I'm not really going to pay much.
And that's where we're finding our success. When it comes to recruiting, we are finding success with local talent, kids from East Tennessee, and because of Tennessee Promise, we don't have to just relate ourselves or keep ourselves within Knoxville. Blount County, Anderson County, all these places around us have so much talent. Jefferson County, I mean, we can really find talent all over the state. And then as long as they've done, now there is a portion that they have to do on their end. For a student athlete to be eligible for Tennessee Promise, there are community service hours they have to do to be eligible.
Just like any other
and
student.
they have to stay ahead of that. They have to graduate, obviously, so they can't drop out and just have obtained a GED. To be eligible for Tennessee Promise. So, they have to do their end. And if they do their end, and then we add, our scholarship money,
Tennessee Promise is what makes community colleges free?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called the Tennessee Promise program.
You just can't walk over and grab a book and go to school.
No, but, there's so many programs now. There's my past, even before athletic director, I worked at Pellissippi, and I fully helped run what we call the cohort programs. And the cohort programs are like welding, water quality, hands-on programs where I see a large number of adult students. Adult students with Tennessee Reconnect can do the same thing as Tennessee Promise. Right. It will pay for them to go to school.
Sure.
So, State of Tennessee has so many options right now for community college. I mean, it really is a huge boon for us, to be able to have these student athletes go to school for what they do. Kind of offsets the not having dorms.
Yeah, we're going to come back.
We'd love to have
We're going to
those.
take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk about facilities to actually play in. So let's take a 3-minute break. Go ahead, Brad. Thank you for watching.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Lock it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference, so we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to Between the Lines here on April 4th. We are talking, it's April 4th, right? Yes, Thursday, April 4th. So we're talking about Pellissippi State getting into the athletic game. And we're talking with, I got an easy thing here, Brock. I mean, your name is just so easy to remember. Normally I'll get something like, Stefano Vigilante or something, it's hard for me sometimes. But anyway, you got a lot of challenges in different sports for costs and everything. You don't have a gym, per se, and you don't have
traditional.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have a traditional gym with, what would we call it, a arena or something.
Yeah.
You don't have anything like that at the university. You have baseball fields?
We do not.
Where are you playing?
We do not. Right now, we're negotiating some stuff with Knox City and Knox County.
Right. But where do you play against this fall? Where did you play in this fall?
This fall, we're going to play, this fall will be our first time playing fall ball. So fall of 24 will be the first time we play fall ball. We're going to center those at Ridley Helton, the old Smoky Stadium in downtown.
That's a long way from school.
Well, we've got a Magnolia campus,
Okay.
so we've got a campus that we are looking that, our baseball players going to take classes there and do that. The ultimate goal obviously is building a field, and that's what we're working on. You're
landlocked. You got a lot of landlocked problems, don't you?
Yeah.
The land's valuable there, too. That's another problem.
I know.
It's not cheap. That's it.
We've got there's a firm, somebody the state of Tennessee assigned that's looking at the kind of that land layout and how we utilize campus resources.
I think you can go back to Hardin Valley or anywhere between Solway and here and call it a home field advantage.
Exactly.
I don't think you have to be sitting on, the Level Road exit.
Exactly.
I think you have to figure out what you want to do there. But I think it needs to be on that side of town. You've got Catholic and tremendous facilities there. Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Ferris and others have built. And you also got all the other private schools in that row, Webb and all of them going right down Christian
yeah.
Academy. So you ought to be able to lean on some of those. They're sort of like 4 miles away from your school.
I'm in contact with some of them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still kind of
Tournament,
working some
maybe,
stuff,
yeah.
and
They got schedules too.
you know, I'm waiting to my baseball coach. You know, I have made a hire. I can't announce the name. Sorry, folks. I've got a due process, and I have to wait until their official start date before I can say anything. So,
When do they start?
April 16th.
Okay, you're almost there.
April 16th.
2 weeks.
So, yeah, so 12 days. You know, with the state, you start on either the first of the month or the middle of the month. It's a whole thing. So, but I'm excited. You know, I'm really excited for what he can build and what he can do.
Okay. So we have baseball operating, soccer, men and women's operating. We have some sports already up and running. Basketball
Yeah.
will start next fall.
Yes, yeah, it's going to start this fall, fall 24. November 1st is first official competition date. So when they can host their first game.
So what first? November 1st? That's
Yeah.
about right for basketball, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be in a league, you'll have reps, you'll get.
Oh, yeah.
And you're recruiting now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And now some of those kids can live at home and play. Some of those
Absolutely.
kids will try to find some kind of situation where we can get them things. So that's pretty interesting. Would you consider Rome State a big rival?
You know, I think it's hard for us, all of us schools along the eastern half of the state, not to consider each other rivals.
Yeah.
You know, between Roane State and Walter State and Cleveland and Chad. I mean, all of those.
That's
for
a
us
straight
would
vertical
be-
line, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a straight vertical line. You know, but for the first year, we didn't really play against them in much except for volleyball. You know.
Volleyball's strictly a women's sport.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Softball's a women's sport? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then.
How'd your soccer teams do?
So they did really well. Now, men's soccer's in a little bit of a
Bucks.
yeah, it's in a different area because, you know, the rest of the conference, they don't have men's soccer programs.
Oh.
So we travel quite a bit. So technically, our conference next year is going to be based out of Georgia.
Okay.
Andrew College, Georgia Military, and Oxford.
Okay.
Will be our road to the national playoffs. So this first year, we weren't eligible for postseason play. So what we did is we played a lot of what's called Region 10. So Region 10 is North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia.
Okay.
We played a lot of those schools. We played a lot of local development teams, you know.
Is there not a soccer field on campus? That's one thing you do have.
We do.
I remember
We
driving
do.
by. I'm looking over there.
Yeah, that's probably the most exciting project we've got going on right now. You know, that's going to be breaking ground soon. You know, we're looking at a full turf facility.
Good.
You know, and it's going to be exciting. That's going to be a really exciting facility.
It'll be outdoor, like you've seen Oak Ridge's place. I mean, you know, it's
Yeah.
kind of like outdoor with a little stadium. That'd be good.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be good. Put the money into that.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, you know, with how they competed this year, though, you know, men's soccer was 11-3-1.
Yeah.
You know, it was a first-year program. I mean, it was really exciting to watch them play. You know, the women's soccer team was 9-8 this year. Now, women's soccer does have in-conference opponents.
Yeah.
Columbia State, Montlow, Southwest, and Dyersburg all have women's soccer teams.
Wow.
So we played against all of them. We actually beat Montlow, who has won the conference for the past 3 years in a row and has not.
Where'd you
Us-
play your home games?
So we played at one of two places. We either played at Carnes High School or we played at Emerald Youth.
Okay.
But we beat Montlow for the first time. It's the first conference game they've lost in 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it
And
exciting?
so,
Was that at home?
yeah, it was at home. 1-0 there. You know, and it was this year for women's soccer was a huge step. You know, our coach was conference coach of the year. Coach Diaz was. We had our first All-American in school history. Sade Lee was our first ever All-American, and she now has a bunch of offers. And I know I go in every day just because I'm curious. You know, I'm an old college coach, and recruiting was my thing. And I was in this morning talking to Coach Diaz, and I was like, all right, so where does it look like Sade's heading? Because she's getting all kinds of interest right now.
Sure.
And she's trying to field offers and figure out what works for her, and it's exciting. We're all excited for her. So
Did she grow up in this area?
She did. She played at Oak Ridge.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, she played at Oak Ridge.
Good. She was good there, too. There's a couple of kids, favorites of mine, they're twins. How old are they now, 13 or 14? I can't remember. How old are the Swisher kids, Brad? Do you know? Those twins are really good. I mean, they play in either Anderson County or Clinton. I can't remember, but they're really, really good. Playing the Oak Ridge travel team. But they're getting older. So I follow a little bit from friends of mine and families I know very well, et cetera, et cetera. So let's talk about the cost. You've eventually got to build a gymnasium.
Right.
And that's expensive.
Right.
That's $1 million.
So the one thing I'll go ahead and just be on record and saying is that the president, the relationship I have with our president, Dr. Wise, is pretty well unlike anything I've seen at multiple athletic departments I've been in. Right. We have a great relationship, and he wants to compete. There's two different models when you look at college athletics. There are some people who are driven by enrollment. They're looking at these kids as numbers and ways to get tuition dollars. And then there's we want to compete. And I will tell you now, Dr. Wise wants to be nationally relevant. He wants to compete. He texts me as much about sports as my own little brothers do. He wants to know what's going on with the teams, et cetera. So all that to being said, when we started all this, we started the master planning process. And so the master planning process is something the state of Tennessee does. And an arena is going to be in the future for us in about 5 to 6 years. Sure. It takes a little bit. We'll have to do some fundraising.
But there you cover your volleyball, a lot of other stuff. You get one arena, you cover a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and where we're playing now is fantastic. Actually, the bubble, when we had tryouts the other day, the kids were saying they loved it. And
the bubble's on top of the hill. If you get off on the road there and see Pellissippi, if you look up on the hill, there's a bubble.
Yeah, the bubble.
The bubble.
So we played volleyball in there this year. It's a super unique facility. It's a hybrid indoor-outdoor facility. We're undergoing the process. I'm doing all the buying the scoreboard, brand new goals, the really exciting stuff.
Do we own the bubble?
Do what?
Does Pellissippi own the bubble?
Yes.
Okay, it is part of the university. Okay.
Yeah, that is ours. Its technical name, and I'm sure somebody from Pellissippi State will watch this, is the Student Recreation Center, but
sure.
every student calls it the bubble. It's the bubble. So,
ironically, when I went to Middle Tennessee State, I was there the first year that the arena was built.
Right.
Maybe second, I think first. We played the first games in there. And, it's underground. If you ever go to MTSU for anything, that all you see is the top of the thing, right? So we had the same kind of things. We had all kinds of nicknames for our gym, the bubble, the tunnel, everything. So it's the way it works. I mean, it's just fun stuff for kids.
Well, I remember we used to change. So for the state championship games for high school football, we used to change in that gym.
It's funny, when I played there, I had a crazy coach, great guy, God rest his soul. He was head coach years later, but he was the JV freshman, which were relevant games in those days. I played against, I'm the same age as Ernie Grunfeld and Bernard King and those guys. Friend of Bernard's, but Ernie was my age, Bernard a year behind. So we had some really good kind of games recreationally and everything. We had some great players in East Tennessee. But all that said, one time, the coach held us down in the gym and told us to warn. There's 2 sub-gyms in MTSU's Murphy Athletic Center. Had us go down and work. All the other team was on the court. I believe it was Tennessee Tech. It may have been somebody else. But because we played UT, we played a lot of good teams from JV. But he held us down in the gym, and he was still going in and warm up. And he went up to TVs. We went up to the camera set, 6:30. He's saying, I don't know where they are. They're mad. They're boycotting, et cetera, et cetera. And then with 2 minutes before the gun went off, we came up dribbling basketballs. They'd all sitting in the stands waiting. And they had to rush, and we went up 16-2. So we had a lot of fun. And we had a lot of fun in that place because it was huge. It was great. And I've seen a lot of state championships there. It was a lot of fun.
I actually miss when MTSU hosted a lot of the state championships. Yeah. I mean, it's not a knock on Tennessee Tech, or I don't even know where they're doing football these days, but
it's there. Yeah, Tennessee Tech.
Yeah,
Cookeville, actually. It's on Cookeville High School.
Yeah,
that new facility. But we had fun in Murphy, and they still do basketball down there.
Really?
So we still have fun with all that. Let's take a second break, Chandler, and then we'll come back and talk more with Brock Evans.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
This is my husband, Alex Hussey. Alex is about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was point man on foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
To watch Alex take on this mountain, that's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done, and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. We're here on Thursday night. 98 show, right, Chandler? Okay. Is it 98 or 99? 98. So we got 2 more to 100 weeks in a row. We're talking with Brock Evans here today about Pellissippi Athletics. And I think the real interesting thing is, and nobody thinks this, but there's 9,000 students that go to Pellissippi State. That's a pretty big base. That's the size of a Tech or a East Tennessee State, or any. The middle's a lot bigger, but there are not a lot of community colleges. Number one in the state of Tennessee. You got a real base there for fans and other things. And I can't think West Knoxville. I don't know how you get any better location than that. So we're talking about all the things, the challenges he's faced in his first year and a half, and all the things he's doing. So you can't play basketball. You have girls basketball and boys basketball?
Absolutely.
Okay. Who's your girls coach?
Girls coach, I'm finalizing that one. It's similar thing.
Brock's
to my
got more
coach.
secrets than the Pentagon.
I know. I've got to keep. They make me keep the secrets. Otherwise, HR will come hunting.
Can we get
me.
any issue from this area or anything? Can you tell me anything?
This person is actually not from this area.
Okay, well that'll make it easy.
This person is. They're not from this area.
If you got experience, it doesn't matter. You need to win games.
Yeah, this is now the person that I am zeroing in on has a great deal of experience. Yeah,
that's what you got. And I think starting programs requires as much maturity as it does acumen for the game. You know, you want to build a base of dependability and
right.
You know, you don't want anybody a little bit too energetic in the beginning, I guess is the word. That's probably not the right word, but you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So when you get the program finished and you get all your programs up, and I think probably sounds like you'll have most of them up by this year.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, that's...
How many student athletes will we have at Pellissippi State? 200, 300?
It'll be 200 on the low side. You know, it really depends upon how many we decide to carry on certain rosters.
Sure.
I mean, like a
Baseball,
college baseball
can
team.
be 40 people.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've got 24 letters of intent. That's 24 scholarships. But that obviously is not going to limit. We're not going to just limit our roster to 24 kids because there's more than 24 talented athletes in this area who could play college baseball. So.
And anybody that's not comfortable with Tennessee, we can just roll them over, right? I mean, if they're not getting any playing time at the Orange.
So it really depends upon how we decide to carry. For example, coming into soccer, I thought when I was doing my estimates before we had hired a coach. And I was kind of running the program pseudo. I was thinking, 24, let's go with 4 walk-ons, let's say 28. And I hire a coach, they start recruiting. All of a sudden, we're sitting at 35 players, and I'm like, oh, gosh, I really underestimated that. So,
do you have a cost per athlete? Is there a cost associated with it?
No, and it's hard to do it because each sport's a little bit different, and the one thing that we can kind of universally count on across the board for all these athletes is what it costs to travel.
Yeah.
We use the GSA state forms for travel. It's going to sound wild, but, when you go out of state or we go across the state, student athletes get per diem just like the other state institutions.
Do they really?
Yeah. And so that per diem is set by the GSA state rates, whether it's.
And that's to be used for food?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they're getting 35 a day or 40 a day or whatever?
It depends. Yeah, it really depends upon the trip, and
that's good.
And we put the onus on our coaches. They have to establish somewhere for them to eat. And I think in the first year, that was probably the biggest thing is our coaches learned what works best.
I would have thought you picked the tab up and just ran it as a thing.
Well, that was one of the models I promoted.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did when I was a football coach. But it's a little bit different there too because the football roster's 120 kids, 100 kids.
Yeah.
Their travel roster was right at 25, 26. So, yeah.
Football players.
Oh yeah. When I was coaching, every meal was Ryan's or. What are those other buffets? Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Anywhere we played in conference, you were trying to find a Golden Corral or a Ron's or one of those
Makes sense,
say, hey, we're going to unload you guys. Go eat.
Soccer players are 145 pounds. They're a little bit different, aren't they?
Buddy,
they eat a lot.
They do. They do.
Different kind of food.
Noodles and Company became a big favorite. Yeah. Chipotle bowls became a favorite. And it's
Panera stuff.
It really comes down to the places that we feel like we can fuel our athletes the best.
Sure.
So
you pick the restaurants?
I don't pick the restaurants. I let my coaches too.
The kids don't get any flexibility, and
no,
I'm gonna go over and eat me 2 quarter pounders while y'all eat that Chipotle stuff.
No. That's a big point of emphasis for me, and especially our athletic trainer Amanda is making sure we fuel our bodies right. We did a whole speaking seminar where we brought somebody in to speak with our student athletes about what they're eating, what they're fueling their bodies with. So a big thing for me, and I've told the coaches this, when it comes to trying to save budget and et cetera, is regardless of where budgets and stuff are at, we're going to feed our student athletes correctly.
My son is trying to decide where to go to school. I mean, data analyst stuff, loves money and digits and stocks and that. So he's doing all those things. And he goes down and he says, I said, what's the big swing between all of these 4-year schools? Because he's smart enough to know you need a certificate, but you can learn a lot on your own. So he's going through everything. I said, what do you think? He says, well, to be honest with you, he said, Austin P has a Chick-fil-A in their university center, and they just started serving breakfast. So I have 24-hour or 18-hour access to chicken minis. That kind of tilts it for now.
Well,
I love it.
I worked for Bethel University at one point down in McKenzie, Tennessee,
right.
And they got a Chick-fil-A, and for the smaller private schools that was unheard of.
Oh yeah.
What I can say, what's been communicated to me, is across the street from campus in Hardin Valley, we are getting our own Chick-fil-A. There is apparently a franchisor who has secured some land.
That's
for
big.
Chick-fil-A. Yeah, well, I found out pretty quickly, next to our campus, our kids are eating so much at the restaurants close to campus that they now know our student athletes by name.
Sure.
And one of them, apparently, he walks in to, there's a Zaxby's next to campus, and they know his order, and when they see him walk through the door, they just go ahead and ring it up, and he walks up with his card.
That's what I do. I mean, I'll eat the same 5 places all week, and in Oak Ridge and places, I'll go in and work, I'll be on my phone, they'll set me in the back, and they have my food up there in no time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go somewhere every day, that's just part of it.
Yeah, they know our kids.
So let's go down the list. Let's go down those. How many different sports are you? Men soccer 1, women's soccer 2. How many different teams are you fielding?
So it's right at 10. Let me do this just to make sure I have 2 soccers, 2 cross countries and half marathons, men's golf, women's volleyball, 2 basketballs, baseball, softball. So 10. So,
you were saying in the break that baseball's really an expensive sport.
Baseball's probably your most expensive. They play the most number of games. You know,
most people, 40
they
people.
carry the largest roster.
Right.
It's not necessarily an equipment thing. You know, a lot of these student athletes they're so particular about their equipment. They're bringing their own bats. They're bringing their own gloves.
I bought a bat for a kid last year. It was $490.
It's nuts. It's nuts. My wife is an athletic trainer out at Lenore City High School, and you know, I was out at a game the other day, and a kid walked through with a bat, and he was showing it to the coach, and they were in the middle of one of those ETBCA baseball tournaments, and I looked at me, and she said, "Do you know how much that bat cost?" And I said, "No." And she said, "He just got it today. It's $400-something." And I was like, "Oh, God."
You know, and here's I've never been an aluminum bat guy. I mean, no sport in the world do you train all the way up with one kind of equipment, and then you turn around and you go play in the pros and you got to use wood.
It's completely different.
I mean, and it should be wood. I mean, I played with wood. I remember wood. I mean, you know, it's just a different thing. I mean, bing, bang, things flying off the bat. I get it, but
somebody who knows more about baseball should email me at Pellissippi and tell me why they have specifically chosen aluminum or BB core or whatever it is that they're swinging. I would
make
love
the ball
to know.
go further. I can help you with that.
Yeah.
I mean, give kids. I mean, nobody wants to watch a 2-1 game anymore.
No.
Koufax is gone. Nolan Ryan's gone. They want to see the ball bounce around the field. But when you hit 5 home runs, it fails. One person, it fails to meet the. Fails to be exciting anymore.
Yeah.
It's not,
the idea of the pitcher's duel is dead.
It's the old argument on steroids and stuff is that do those records count and what are they doing? And the bottom line is, I can tell you in baseball, everybody was using them. I had friends in Pittsburgh and everybody in the locker room. It just was part of the game. I mean, it kind of got bad, you know. So
well, I grew up in that era. I remember waking up every morning, running downstairs to ESPN and seeing if Sammy Sosa or Mark McGwire had hit another home run that night.
But let me tell you something. I watched them all play. I had season tickets my first and third at Three River Stadium from 86 to 93, something like 87. And I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that Barry Bonds is the greatest athlete I ever saw. I mean, this is when he was skinny now, before steroids.
Yeah.
That guy had 6 gold gloves in a row. He tracked balls down over. Of course, he grew up in the game, but he tracked balls down. I saw him steal 50 bases his rookie year and 60, and I saw him. He just ran around like they were children playing with him, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, a lot of those great athletes, it was fun. Baseball's a fun game to watch, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm really excited. You know, I can't, you know, say that I have favoritism towards any sport, but, you know.
Probably football.
And that's one we don't have to worry about Pellissippi getting is football. But, you know, I'm really excited to watch these sports. And I'll tell you, I picked up when I was dating my wife in college, she was a college softball player. I love watching softball. It's so fast. Yes. And it's there's some great athletes out there. You know, the movement that the pitchers in softball are doing with the ball is unlike baseball. Sure. I mean, I'm excited for that. And, you know, our conference schedules for softball, gosh, they'll play a Friday, Saturday series. They play a doubleheader on Friday and a doubleheader on Saturday. They'll play 4 games in 2 days and not blink an eye. So I'm excited for that.
So you're going to have 200-plus athletes. They're going to be living in apartments and other places. You have no housing facilities, et cetera, et cetera. Then they'll go to practice. They'll show up. And that's kind of like minor leagues. I mean, it's kind of a – yeah, you get what you got.
And we try and, you know, we're going to structure our schedules around, you know, class time. We work to set up an academic plan where 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. for these athletes, they are focused on being in class, okay? At 2 p.m., we open the schedule to our first athletic activities. You know, some of my coaches want to jump right in, start at 2 p.m. Some want to go later. They might want to watch film beforehand. They might want to do weights beforehand, whatever it is. But we have that schedule set up in a way to where they get done with class. We're transitioning them to their next thing, to practice, to the next thing, to study hall. Study hall and those things are big for us. And I tell all these students.
Do you have any coaching duties?
I don't.
Good.
I don't.
That's too big a program to have.
If we brought football to campus, maybe I'd come out. But even at that point, I'd just go back to being an offensive line coach.
You got too much to do.
No.
In that situation, in that sense of it, et cetera. So, any sports going on right now?
Right now, we've got golf going on. So golf is playing currently.
Men and women.
Yeah, or men, just men.
You don't have women's golf?
Not yet.
That's kind of weird.
Not yet.
Golf,
Not yet.
There's a lot of good women's golf.
I think that might be something we add. Cross country half marathon's going on right now, but the focus is on the half marathon portion of it.
That's 13 miles for those of you out there that don't run. That's 13 miles of run. That's a pretty good run.
Yeah, I get tired just stepping out and watching them run for practice. They run on campus, and I step out and I look at Coach Roy, our coach, and I'm like, there's no way. And I
used to run a lot in college and graduate school, and then my knees wore down. But I couldn't. If you're a runner, you wonder why they're skinny, because if you're like 10 pounds overweight, it wears you down. It can wear you down.
I ran yesterday, and I'm feeling it today. So.
Pellissippi Panthers, we'll be back for the concluding segment in 3 minutes.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Prescription drug misuse is a prevalent and potentially fatal problem. When people do not properly monitor, store, and dispose their medications, it can create an opportunity for misuse. Count it. Make it a goal to count your pills once every 2 weeks. Lock it. Secure your medications at home. Drop it. Drop off unused or expired medications for proper disposal at any police department in Anderson County. For more info, visit asapofanderson.org. Brought to you by ASAP of Anderson. Prevention works.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference, so we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. Get ready for it, folks. The Pellissippi Panthers, Pellissippi State Panthers are coming. First year we're playing basketball. That'll be exciting. We got some other stuff. Where are you playing the games this year? You can't build a gym for a couple of years. Where are you
we're going to play in the bubble.
Up on the bubble. So we'll be on campus. That's great. Everybody, how many faculty members at Pellissippi?
Oh, gosh, I couldn't tell you that.
Needs to be required that they attend the first basketball game. Who do I need to talk to about that?
We had a great turnout. Like at our first volleyball game in the gym, we had a great turnout.
Good.
We'll start that discussion with the president. Tell him we need.
Let's get him going. Yeah.
to get
We'll figure
all the
something out on that.
faculty out.
That's fantastic. So we have our basketball, and the girls' basketball starts this fall with
Yes.
its invisible coach that you can't tell me who it is. I got it.
Not yet.
Has he even
Not yet.
recruited anybody for this fall?
We have, so all of our recruitment forms, and this goes for anybody out there right now, psccpanthers.com. There is a button up top that says recruit me. Click on the sport you're interested in. Go ahead and fill
smart.
that out. Yeah, and get some film. I mean, I will tell you with my, because I already am in contact with these coaches, they have access to those forms. Now there is some limitations about
What they can do. and
what
can't
they
do.
can do, but they can go ahead and start making short lists and figuring out what they want to do.
So let's go real slow with that. What's the web address?
psccpanthers.com.
Pellissippi State Community College. That's pscc.panthers.com.
Or, well, psccpanthers.com.
Okay, and you find the recruit me button.
Yeah, it just says
that's
recruit me up top, and then it drops down and it has all 10 sports listed. And so you choose which one you want to
Are your
fill out.
coaches getting paid competitively?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I would.
important to keep them.
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, I think that our coaches are doing really well at this level.
Do you recruit coaches that are faculty members too, or just coaches?
In some instances, I mean,
Of course, the way they pay faculty at these community colleges, they basically contract with you. You're not like a.
if they're an adjunct.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And so there's differences between tenured and adjunct. All what I can confidently say is all of my coaches so far have come from outside of the Pellissippi State system.
Yeah, and that means they were attracted enough to come in. I think that big thing, I remember Rose I was looking one time at teaching something, and it was like one course, 1 hour, 3 hours a week for a semester was $2,600 or something.
Yeah,
and that's how they
that's
did
pretty
it.
accurate.
Yeah, that's what they do. And so if you teach more courses, you get more money.
And my coaches, they work split roles. It's where they are a basketball coach for part of the time. The other portion of their job is their academic success for student athletes.
Yeah.
And that's what we have them doing is working with those student athletes on grades, because that's such a huge piece for me, is making sure, because our goal is.
Well, you have to keep doesn't Tennessee Promise require a certain degree? 2A
Yeah,
or something?
yeah. Now I'd have to ask our Stay Strong Center what the exact grade requirements are, but there's a grade requirement that they have to meet. They have community service they have to do throughout the year as well. So
That should be easy.
yeah,
Clean
yeah.
the bubble.
We've set up tons of opportunities. Like our men's soccer team did a clean up Hardin Valley project that got all of their community service hours in tow. So.
I'm trying to think, because when my son was at St. Mary's here in Oak Ridge, they had a girls' golf team. And then they went on, two of them went on to play. One played at Catholic, one played at Bearden or somewhere, and then they went on to play college. But I know there's some developmental programs around here for women's golf, so you should be able to recruit some kids to play.
Yeah, I think women's golf will be one that we would plan to add. As it stands right now, we're kind of in this area where we're the largest athletic department now in the NJ or within the TCCAA, which is all the Tennessee community colleges.
Yeah.
I think Roan State's tied with us because they just added women's soccer, and they might eclipse us once they add men's soccer.
Well, and Roan State's going to be looking over their shoulder. I know those boys well enough, and girls. They're going to see Pellissippi
I love
State.
their AD down there. I will tell you, Dave Lane is stand-up guy.
I don't know any of
He's
them,
awesome.
but I'm just saying Roan State's had a presence here of dominating community college stuff for 30, 40 years at least. Yeah, 50, more like 50. So when they moved out of down Oak Ridge, they expanded out and did some things in Oak Ridge. But of course, they got that huge campus, baseball facility out there in that kind of sense in recruiting.
They've got some great stuff.
Who is marketing the programs that you have besides the website? Who is going around to these schools and marketing Pellissippi State schools?
Oh man, my coaches are my biggest asset, my biggest tool there. And
they got to get out and do it. Of course,
they've got to get out. I also have a sports information director, which is something integral to any college program. But he does a lot of work. His name is Jake Woods. He's been awesome for me. Actually fresh kind of out of UT, and he worked for me first as an intern, and he's just been awesome.
Yeah, and interns are great. I've had hundreds of them, and it helps because you get to know their attitude. of whether you're going to go somewhere and do something, et cetera, et cetera. So we got the bubble, we got the golf course. Where do you play golf? Where do they play golf at?
Centennial, actually.
Is that right? No,
yeah, just here in town.
That's a
Here in
tight
Oak
course.
Ridge.
That's a tough course.
Well, and I hear about it. I'll tell you, I hear about it.
Length don't help you there.
Those guys, they come by my office. They talk to me quite a bit, and they talk to me.
They play in the rough, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, if you can hit the fairways at Centennial, though, you can probably hit them anywhere. Yeah,
it's tight. Yeah.
So
I got to the point in my career, I played an Oak Ridge High School golf team, and then I went. And then didn't play anymore. It required too much time. And then you go, golf's one of those things where you got to get 4, 5, 6 hours. So I was out on that. Basketball was simple. I went to the gym, I did my thing. So we were going at it. But I realized somewhere in the game that I just quit using woods. All I do is go out and hit a 5-iron down the middle, 180 yards. Then I hit a 9-iron up within 20 yards of green. Then I chip on a 2-putt and get a bogey. So that was the rest of my career as an adult. I couldn't keep it in the fairways with big woods. I could keep it in the fairways with irons. From within 180 yards, I could still be playing, but I couldn't do anything outside of 200 yards. I just had a slice and all that stuff. But that's fun. Yeah, the golf course is easier than building a gym.
Yeah. I mean, the big projects for us right now are finishing our soccer facility, and then baseball and softball. Those are my 3 focuses right now. And then, a basketball gym will come with a master planning process.
Sure.
And, for us will be a multi-use facility.
But you got a big student body. You got a big sports program. It'll come.
Oh,
and you're in Knoxville. Knoxville's not going to let Pellissippi fail. It ain't happening. So you've got to get out there and do what you can do with that. But I see that. And those soccer results are pretty impressive for first year.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, completely unexpected. Obviously I hired good coaches, and I thought that they could do it because I knew the talent in the area that we had, and they completely blew me away. And then now this year we get to compete in postseason, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think, that's a big deal because you played for that. When you play all year and you play well and then you're shut out of the playoffs, that's kind of tough for a kid. And they are kids, I mean, they're still kids.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that, I don't know, do you think the high school coaches in Knoxville will be helpful? Are you working with them? Or are you?
Yeah, I mean, I have
you get a kid that can't qualify except to a 4-year school somewhere else, small school, he might be able to stay home and play, he or she can play ball.
Oh, yeah.
In Pellissippi and prop themselves up again to where they can play better years.
We have established a lot of really, really key relationships with local high school coaches. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say I got an email every day from a high school coach. Hey, I've got this kid. Who can I get in contact with? So, it's yeah. I mean, and all of our coaches' contact information's on the website through emails. So, it's great. I think all of East Tennessee's really helped kind of prop us up and get us going.
I saw a friend of mine come in and went to UT football practice. We're in a restaurant. He brought his son up from Chattanooga. Give me 90 seconds on how you think the Vols will do.
In football?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
I wouldn't call him your in any other sport.
This year's going to hinge a lot on a couple things. It hinges a lot on Nico.
Sure.
He'll be fine. Pretty much, you've got some freshmen who have to grow up quick. As an offensive line coach, a lot of it's going to come down to offensive line play.
I keep telling my friends with the Titans, I keep saying, Joe Alt or the other guy, but you better get a left tackle. I don't care how much talent. I watch them beat those quarterbacks up all year.
A lot of our success next year will be determined by the offensive line for the University of Tennessee, I think.
And there are a lot of injuries last year. Mays is gone. The final Mays boy's gone, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I think is he back? I think he's back.
One more, 7 years?
I think he's.
I used to watch him play against Oak Ridge with Kevin.
Yeah.
He was a big, strong kid.
Yeah. Kid's impressive.
Yeah, and his older brother's done well in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's done well. I think. Yeah. But I think he's with Houston. I can't remember. He's with somebody important. Yeah. But with the draft,
I'm excited. We have Tennessee tickets, and I've been going to games since I was little.
I have. I've been going the last 10, 15 years pretty steadily. I think the UT will do fine. I think you could roll some incentives. I don't know what's legal and not illegal, but you could roll some incentives for your kids to go to some of those games, do some stuff. I mean, there's a lot you could do. Not as a university, but supporters of the program.
We need to start the Panther NIL rolling.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. Hey, we had a great show. I appreciate being on. We needed this a long time ago. Thank you for watching.